Okay, so today let's talk about the value of work. As adults and also as children, that I see education as a form of work, which it is. Um, as humans, we have to participate in some form of work to be able to survive, and you can say all life does that. But as humans, we have to deal with not with nature, but we have to deal with the technological system. We work within the technological system. When we go to school, we don't deal with nature. When we go to work, we don't deal with nature. Most of the time, we just in front of our computers or listen to teacher or whatever your profession is. We are doing that. And if we have jobs, we consider ourselves lucky. If we can study, if we have access to education, we consider ourselves lucky because we have been told to believe in that this is something good. Because without that, you can't survive in a technological civilization. So, if you watch my documentary, The Connections 2021 short documentary, you realize that whenever I say technological civilization, I am thinking that this is something that has to go. It's not good. It's not good to contribute to it because whenever you try to contribute, you create more problems. So, if you have understood that logic from the documentary, which is quite convincing, I must say that if you have any arguments still after it has been quite a while that it is on YouTube, I have never received any legitimate arguments against it. It can be emotional arguments, it's not an argument, emotional responses, but nothing logical at all. Nothing comes close as that I can even consider as an argument. So that's why I'm still. If you know something that I don't know, please let me know. So I change my mind. But the documentary fits the data. I mean the ideas there fits the data that we are causing mass extinction. That every step the exponential growth, and it's basically what's going on. I'm quite convinced about that with all the logic that supports it. Given that that the technological civilization is something bad, whatever we do in our everyday lives is contributing to it is also bad. So I will argue with that logic that if you are getting paid, if you are studying something, your work has negative value in technological civilization. As a human, it's more likely that your life, basically what you do, creates negative value. It means it takes away. It's easy to, if you are dealing with environmental issues, you can really see that it is taking away. You can see the forest being cut down, you can see the pollution, you can really see how it is taking away. And you can see how also mental issues, how it drains people. People don't realize it, we are conditioned into it. But think about this way. Let's take an example of a student. What we do to our children. We are animals, right? We are animal species. Most vegans would say they are against zoos. So they don't want animals in zoos and also circuses. So they don't want animals to perform tricks. But they're okay with sending their kids, as animals, sending their kids to school to learn some tricks to run the technological civilization. It's basically a circus that you have to perform tricks, and it's enslavement in a way because it's not a natural setting, but we are just performing some tricks to make the technological civilization uh, go, continue, expand, whatever. And it is quite like we see still as vegans that we know that we are animals, that but we still don't put ourselves to the same um, logical consistency. We still have this thing that, as I said, like circuses, it is bad because they force animals to perform unnatural things. We are doing the same to our children, to ourselves. We are performing unnatural tricks all the time whenever we participate in the technological civilization, because by definition technological civilization is unnatural. It's an unnatural setting. So this is not our nature. And I don't know why people like don't react to that. Vegans should realize that. And as I said, anti-technology and veganism are like this. They have the same baseline. They have the same um, facts um, at the background that is giving rise to these realizations um, of environmental destruction, veganism, um, humanitarian issues. All these are, they all have one root cause, and they're just different problems caused by one root cause as a technological civilization. So okay, so basically work has negative value if you are getting paid. Um, you that the basically the monetary value is a negative entity. It has negative, so people tend to see, let's say I have $1,000, they see it as something good, but actually what I see is it is negative $1,000. I always put negative in front of all the units, all the values of the technological civilization, because they're basically reverse. They're against, they're opposing to the natural balance. Everything we do. You can come up with something that you think that it is good. Let's say a doctor. A doctor is someone, let's say someone is sick and the doctor is healing some surgery and just doing something, but that just causes more human population growth. There also um, animal experiments for those surgeries, whatever. It takes resources. It takes it just um, doesn't address the root cause that this person was living unhealthy in a way, or in unnatural settings. In most cases, that for example they consume animal products, they have heart disease, then they have to go to have some surgery, while actually the root cause is basically they're eating an unnatural diet, which is we are great apes, we need to eat plant-based, but we have been brainwashed to eat other ways. So just to solve one problem without addressing the root cause, we are addressing it with creating another problem, basically. And those people, doctors, have to be educated all their lives, so it's basically unnecessary. If just that person would eat plant-based, we wouldn't need to have such a demanding profession. And yeah, I mean, it is not good if you really look from the bigger perspective. That's all matters. If as humans we tend to see locally, we just say, oh, I helped, I fixed here and there, but what we are fixing is a negative value. We just, okay, so to understand it from like maybe like simple terms, think about technological civilization is something negative, and you are contributing something negative, but because you are in the framework of technological civilization, and technological civilization is in a negative direction, and you are contributing in the negative direction. You see this, you don't see that this is the overall negative direction. You look relatively to technological civilization and you say, okay, this is something contributing to something. So you are contributing to technological civilization, yes. So you say, okay, this is something positive because I'm contributing, but actually you are contributing negatively overall to in the whole picture. And yeah, I mean, these are my thoughts for today. That whenever you participate in technological civilization, I mentioned this before too, but I will repeat because most people still they don't get it. They just somehow they just don't see that this is something bad. This is something destructive. This is something negative. That they just wake up and maybe I will compete today, like more salary, higher salary. We want our rights, or like have higher grades, do this best, do this better. But then within all these small local visions of ideals or brainwashing propaganda uh, shaped lifestyle, uh, within all those, you just need to see that all these things are actually negative. It's quite a realization. Like you after this realization, you can't fit in perfectly. You just realize that you are really a slave. Before you might feel sometimes that you're a slave, but to really logically see that you're a slave, you realize this and then say, I have to participate in this to survive, to be alive. And it is much easy to participate if you haven't realized what I just told you. You can just um, say, okay, this is difficult, or like, or maybe I enjoy it, or but I'm participating, I am contributing something, and I'm getting back something, and that's okay. But when you realize that you shouldn't be actually contributing to it, and you have to contribute to survive, then you just say, okay, we are all basically slaves, because no one can say, I'm not going to contribute it. Otherwise, they will just um, die, not survive. They will not get paid. It will be difficult for them. Yeah, the first step of being free, getting free, is basically realizing that you're a slave. But they really did a good trick on with fooling people that whatever, like in the direction that technological civilization demands, the education system said this is what you must seek, or work, this is what you must seek, and we respect those who work the hardest. Don't just try to find time for yourself. Give your time to work, or for yourself or your family or whatever. They come second. If you work, this society will value you more and more. And if you know more, if you study more, this society will value you more. But what? Which society? I mean, technological civilization, the technological society. Technological civilization will value you more. Would the nature value you more? Would the indigenous people, would future generations value you more? No, because basically you are destroying the real values. Okay, so thank you very much for listening, and see you in another video.